forecast first. Sponsored by Natex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. The skies right now, they are pretty much clear. We do have a few clouds here and there, but it's another warm and very muggy start. Temperatures right now sitting mainly into the 60s and the 70s. We got 68 in Effingham, 68 in Danville and in Taylorville. The rest of us, though, are in the 70s. And well, maybe a few of us drop down into the 60s very shortly before we start to warm back up as we go into the afternoon. And where do we head? Back into those lower 90s again. We're going to talk about the heat still around at least for the next few days, but maybe a slight cool down with some extra rain chances. We'll talk about those plus some more rain chances the next work week with even more of a cool down coming up. WCI 3 News starts now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is The Morning Show on WCIA 3 News.
Well, thanks for joining us this morning. I'm McLeod Hageman.
And I'm Christy Batista. A 3-year-old in Springfield is recovering after what police are calling an accidental shooting.
It happened near Sequoia and Buckeye Drives, and the child was taken to the hospital. Neighbors say they didn't hear any shots. In fact, they didn't realize anything had happened until police and other first responders started showing up. Police are still investigating to make sure that it was, in fact, an accident.
An 18-year-old is in custody in connection with multiple gun-related incidents in Springfield. Officers responded to shots fired on Cedar Street, South MLK Drive, North 12th, and Reservoir Street as well. They later found a car crashed on North 11th Street and saw people running away from that. One of them was confronted by an officer. Police say that's when Larry French took out a gun and pointed at the officer. Police were able to arrest him.
Also new this morning, Danville crews are battling a fire in the 900 block of Lewis Lane at an apartment complex. Firefighters are asking people to avoid that area if they can. The department posted to social media about the fire around 4 o'clock this morning. We are working to learn whether any residents or pets have been affected by this fire. Please stay with WCIA on air and online as we continue to follow this story. We do have a reporter on the way, and we'll have more details later in the show. And new this morning, a woman who drove her car off the Bradley Avenue Bridge is set to be sentenced today. Asia Marshall faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. She drove her Jeep off the unfinished bridge, hitting a barrier on the interstate last September. There were 2 passengers in the vehicle, and they were hurt. Her blood alcohol concentration was nearly 3 times the legal limit. Well, a FedEx driver is all right after his truck was hit by a train.
This happened on Route 54 and 600 East, just northeast of Gibson City. Sheriff's deputies say the driver was slowing down to cross the tracks, but couldn't see the train coming because trees were blocking his view. The driver dove into the back of the truck with the packages before the train hit the truck's headlights and bumper. He only has a few scratches.
Early on this morning, it will be more that warm and muggy start again to the region. And right now, as we take a live look on your Roofing Dog on Weather Camera Network, if you're heading out, don't need to worry about any rain. Of course, just need you to get out to your car. And if you want to, you probably have to turn on the AC. If you just want to roll down the window, just know that the air mass is not going to be all that comfortable. But as we take a live look at your storm tracker Doppler, we are seeing that rain is farther to the north again, just like yesterday morning. This time even farther north across parts of the UP of Michigan and heading into the lower peninsula too. Some pretty heavier downpours coming along with that. Farther south is where now Hurricane Laura is making its way into the central and north Gulf of Mexico. We're still keeping an eye on the track. It still does look like at least we'll have some impacts from it as we go into the next couple of days. But for today, it's going to be another dry and hot one with temperatures this morning in the lower 70s and upper 60s. Here's a look at your weather headlines. We remain hot and humid today with no rain in sight for the time being. But wetter days are ahead, and we'll let you know more about them here coming up later in the show. Christy?
Thanks, Adam. Governor Pritzker has cracked down on a second region in Illinois. He added new restrictions on bars and restaurants in Will and Kankakee counties, where the number of people testing positive for COVID-19 keeps on rising. Metro East and the south suburbs now have a curfew in place. Bars cannot serve customers inside and must close by 11 o'clock. Indoor capacity for meetings and social gatherings is also shrinking from 50% down to 25%.
Wear a mask. This is not that difficult a thing to do. It is for a period of time. It will end. There are vaccines and treatments that are in development. I think we all have some optimism that by next year we will have those available to us, and perhaps we can do away with masks altogether. But in the meantime, masks, social distance, wash your hands, these are just basic, easy things that everybody ought to be doing.
In central Illinois, the numbers are much better. The Champaign and Decatur region is at 1.6%, and Springfield is at 5.5%, which is still well below the state's target rate of 8%. The governor also announced an adjustment to the statewide mask mandate.
And starting today, servers will ask you to wear your mask while they approach the table. The rule had previously required you to wear a mask inside or while walking around, but you could take it off once you sat down. Also beginning today, the new rules ask everyone to wear a mask when waitstaff members are serving your table.
A private high school in Springfield confirmed there are 2 positive cases there. The news comes only a few days into the new school year. WCIA 3's Cole Henke has more.
Sacred Heart Griffin High School in Springfield reported 2 cases of COVID-19 since the school year started. And the private high school is still continuing with in-person classes with no plans to stop soon.
While the school does have contingencies set up for students who are quarantining, they do not have a hybrid plan. All 550 students at the school reported for in-person learning. The Archdiocese of Springfield decided to go fully in person, but they said they worked with the Department of Public Health and the Sangamon County Public Health Department to come up with their plan.
All the schools are equal and the same as far as we're concerned, and they're all people and kids, and we're trying to help schools go and answer questions for anybody.
Sacred Heart Griffin said that they do not have the resources to offer a hybrid plan. Reporting in Springfield, I'm Cole Henke, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Now, the school would not confirm if the cases involved students or staff members. The school is also being deep cleaned, especially where the people who tested positive would have been.
Well, cases are up in McLean County, and officials say it's because more students are headed back to school. The rolling 7-day positivity rate has hit 7.4%. The health department most recently announced 43 new cases. Public health officials say many of those are Illinois Wesleyan students. The total number of positive COVID-19 cases in McLean County now sits at nearly 1,200 with 16 deaths. And Champaign County had another record-setting day of coronavirus cases, too.
Many of those are tests from students returning to the U of I. There are 86 new cases. That's 18 more than the day before. According to U of I campus testing data, there were 263 positive cases between last Wednesday and Sunday. The rolling positivity rate from those days is 0.7%. 2 people are hospitalized with COVID-19.
And the state is reporting more than 1,600 new cases. That makes more than 223,000 people since the pandemic was first reported. The state positivity rate has dropped for the 2nd straight day to 4.1%. 29 more people have died. Illinois has lost more than 7,900 people to COVID-19. And join us tomorrow night at 6:30 for our 30-minute special reports on COVID-19. It's called Just the Facts, and we're sharing your medical concerns with doctors to see where they are in their fact-finding mission to help curb the spread. And Illini legend has some lofty expectations for this year's basketball team.
Coming up in sports, why he says this group has the potential to be really special. We'll be right back.